Hey guys, glad you stopped by. Today I thought we would do, I forgot the live stream, which was my very first live stream, and I think it went well. I mean, we didn't have a lot of people there, but that's okay. Just like this channel, it'll grow with time. Everything has a time and place, right? But today I thought we would do, it's basically Stromboli. Now they kind of renamed it and called it, and now it's called garbage bread. And it does have a few differences. Like with Stromboli, it's just one whole hollow center with dough wrapped around it. This one, you roll it up almost like a cinnamon roll, but the same principles still apply, and it's kind of like a fun play on it, is what I read as far as how it got its name type thing. And it's wonderful. Now, that being said, I have not made this version. I have made a version of it a week or so ago. It's probably about closer to 3 weeks now. But Chris had sent me this kind of like a Facebook recipe for it. And even though it had the ingredients list, it didn't tell you how to make it. And I'm thinking to myself, this sounds familiar because it was very pizza toppings. And so I looked up a garbage bread recipe, and oh my god, there's a recipe for every occasion. But I found this chicken fajita one that was really good. But I had a request from the family to do a pizza version. So that's what we're going to do today, is a pizza version. And this one it's quick, it's easy. This really is a quick, easy dish. Something that it doesn't matter if you are an expert chef or this is your first day in a kitchen, you can easily make. Everything we are doing is store-bought in this case, like our dough. Now you can't make your dough from scratch, but in this case I'm using a store-bought dough. You can use pre-shredded cheese. The only thing I had to do really was cut up some stuff. Now I did make, in this case, some sausage and some bacon. I crumbled my sausage as I cooked it because I'm going to use it for other things. And the bacon, same principle. I cooked up an entire pound of bacon and I chopped some of it up for this dish. The rest of it will be in the fridge for other things. That way I don't have to waste time down the road. Mushrooms are about pre-sliced. So it really is limited on, you get as much or as little into it time-wise as you put into it at any rate. If you are new to the channel, welcome. Glad you stopped by. Hope you get something out of this one. Maybe check out some other videos. That is the oven going off. I see you got it set at 400 degrees, so you can probably do that now. If you are returning or one of our new subscribers, welcome. Thank you. I appreciate you guys subscribing, and viewing for that matter. That helps us in the algorithm, keeps us growing, right? Big community full of like-minded people based around food and communication. That is just the coolest stuff ever. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Comments always welcomed. I respond to all of them, good, bad, or indifferent. The only thing I ask is that you be polite. Think before you type. It's okay to disagree, just don't be mean, right? And we've done a wonderful job of that so far in the 6 years total I've been off and on YouTube. Well, we'll just stay solid the last 3.5, 4. Everybody's been wonderful, hands down, but it's always good to remind. I think that's it. Let's go ahead and get down to the counter and we're gonna get started on this. It won't take long at all, I promise. Hold on for me just 1 second. Okay, so we're down here at the counter. And like I said, in this case, with this one, we're gonna do pepperoni, mozzarella cheese, sausage, bacon, onion, green pepper, and mushroom. Now, I already got everything already chopped and diced up, and I'll tell you what my weights are as we go, hands down. So I figure that way, by pre-doing those, and like I said, I meal prep. So when I get stuff from the store, I take a day or a little bit of a day, and I go through and I shred on my cheese. I make hamburgers, or I make ground something or whatever, so that way I have it ready to go for weeknight meals the rest of the week because of everything we do around here that keeps us so busy. So got all that done. The only thing left to do really is to do our dough. So I bought a frozen dough, which I'm actually new to frozen pizza dough, so to speak, right here. And it's frozen, but you want to make sure it's completely thawed. Even though I work in a pizza shop, I don't really use frozen dough like this. But it's really kind of cool. So the first thing I'm gonna do, I got parchment paper over here. It fits this pan right here, this baking sheet right there. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna get some flour on it, and I'm just using a strainer to put my flour on. That way we don't waste a bunch of flour, and I can get it evenly over without messing up my hands, so to speak. So I got a layer down there. Then I'll go ahead and get my dough on there, and I'm gonna go ahead and get some more flour on it. I mean, you can be liberal with the flour, but you don't want to waste, right? Especially nowadays, things are so expensive, even flour. So we'll go ahead and we're gonna press this out. You know, go ahead and make sure there's no gases in it from any, it might have live yeast depending on the dough you use. And then after we get it good and pressed out and started, right? And we got flour on our hands. I'm gonna take my rolling pin and I'm gonna roll this out to as close to 12 by 20-ish to make our base for our garbage bread. Okay, so now that we've got it rolled out, and we're at roughly 12 by 20, 14 by 20, right around there, but you want it as, rectangle as you can. And this was a 1 pound dough. Now, I don't know if you can quite see it or not, but there are some like air bubbles that you'll see, that you could see forming when you're rolling it out. If that's, just press them down. Go ahead and pop them, because what that is that's the live yeast eating. So where the yeast is warming, it's awake, it's doing its thing, it's forming gas bubbles. And what that does, you ever get a pizza and it's got that big like air bubble on it? That's exactly what that is. That's how that happens. And if you pop it, you won't have it. So we got that taken care of, and you don't even need a rolling pin. You can just stretch this out by hand really and work it. I just used a rolling pin because it's quicker. So the first thing I'm going to put on here is some pepperoni. I'm just using store-bought pepperoni. Use your favorite, hands down. So we're going to take it about 2/3 of the way up. We're going to leave about 1 inch off of the edges. That way we have room to crimp the edges, crimp the ends and the top when we're ready to fold. All right, we got our pepperoni on there, and I didn't give you a measurement on the pepperoni just because it's what you want on there. Pepperoni may be the only thing you're putting in there. I don't, because these are your favorite toppings. The next thing I'm putting on here, I got about 110 grams worth of green pepper, and it's okay if I don't use it all, and they're finely chopped. And we're gonna go ahead and put that on next. Now we got our green pepper on there, and I didn't use it quite all, probably about 90 grams worth, but it was one medium large bell pepper. I've got one small medium onion I'm chopping up, that I've diced up, sorry. And we're gonna go ahead and get that on there. And like I said, if you don't use it all, that's fine. You could save it, and then the next day when you cook something, or next morning for breakfast, an omelet, these would go great on an omelet. So we got that on there. And now we'll go ahead and get our bacon. I got 4 strips of bacon, thick cut bacon, and I just after I cooked it, I chopped it up, and we'll get some of that on there. And now we're gonna add some crumbled sausage, and this is just in this case it's just plain old sausage. You can buy Italian sausage if you like, or whatever your favorite sausage is. I use just regular sausage. And almost everything I cook, unless the recipe calls for Italian sausage. So we got that on there. Then our next ingredient is gonna be some mushrooms. And I got, just like I said, some pre-sliced mushrooms. You can break them up in order to get them in there a little better, because we're gonna fold this up. So you want them to be, not huge, bulky pieces, or you'll end up with a bulky look. And then the last thing we're gonna put on here is some mozzarella cheese. Now I have a 1/2 pound of mozzarella cheese. It's 227 grams worth shredded up here. And we're gonna put this on here, just like such. And you use as much or as little as you want. Just remember, we have to roll this up. So it could be, now the dough stretches, but it could be quite the interesting adventure trying to get this rolled up. All right, so we've got that on there. Yeah, you can see. So the next thing we need to do is we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna grab the end, I'm gonna stretch it out a little bit, and I'm gonna fold it over just like that. And then we're just gonna roll this up as tightly as possible. Yeah, but like I said, this is why, see how it's moving forward with us? That's why we left that gap, and we got the ends that try to fall out, but that's why we left that 1 inch gap there. So we'll go ahead and get that rolled up just like that. And then I'm gonna take the ends, after I shove this a little bit back in here, and we're just gonna fold these up and over, just like that. All right, we're gonna roll them tight. And then we're gonna do the same thing with this back here, or the main roll. We can roll that flat onto the bottom, just like such. And then do this side. Okay, so a couple last things to do. It won't take 2 minutes. We're gonna go ahead and grab our pan, and we'll go ahead and get this on there, just like such. Nothing fancy. So then the last thing we have to do, this is kind of optional, and there's a couple different things you can do with it. But I've got 1 egg in here, 1 large egg, and it's about room temperature. Doesn't have to be. And I'm going to put about a teaspoon's worth of water in there, and then I'm going to scramble this because we're going to put it on top. We're going to coat this with it, no different than we would like a pie crust, right? That way it gets a nice golden brown look, and it'll keep it from burning. That's probably the coolest part of that. So it'll make it look good, and it'll keep it from burning. Now let's say you don't want to use egg. You don't have to. You can use milk or heavy cream, and you don't have to add the water to it. But the same principle will apply. You're going to take a brush, and we're just going to lay this over the top, spread this over the top like this. Don't worry about the bottom. I know nobody ever really says that, but nobody ever does the bottom, but they never tell you it's okay to not do the bottom. So we're going to go ahead and get this on here. All right, we got that on there, just like such. Looking good. So now we're just going to go ahead and re-get this in the oven. All right, we are in the oven, 400 degrees, just like we said it there at the beginning. And we're going to let this bake for about 35 to 40 minutes. And a lot of that will depend on how do you like your crust on your pizza, so to speak. If you like a little lighter bake, go 30 to 35. If you like it to be a little more well done, go 35 to 40, even a little longer, 40, 45. I personally found that the last one we made, that 40 minutes was good, gave it a nice golden brown color. And that's what you're ultimately looking for, is that golden brown look. So I'm gonna let this bake, and when it is done, we'll get it out of the oven. I'm gonna let it rest for 10 minutes, right? You want it because you don't want to eat it right out of the oven, it'll melt your face. I mean, nobody wants their face melted, right? But we'll let it rest for about 10 minutes, and then that way when I come back, we can cut it open and try some. All right, I'll see you here in a second. All right, so went ahead, got her out of the oven after about 35 minutes. I didn't let this one go quite as long, so the dough wasn't quite as stiff. The last time I made this and I let it go 40 minutes, it was a little, it would have made an awesome bread. Because it was a little firm on the top, the crust was. I wanted it a little softer, but as you can see, I mean, it turned out just beautiful. It's got good color. You know, now I did, because of the grease for the pepperoni, it did come apart a little bit here on the sides, and that's okay. You know, hands down okay. I mean, as you can see, it cleans up nice, you know, kind of like me if I'm going out. And it's still going to be edible for sure. So next thing we want to do is we're going to go ahead and get this cut, and we're just going to cut it in half to start, and then we're going to go ahead and we'll cut it into slices. We should be able to get about 8 to 9 slices out of this easy, you know, depending on how big a piece you want. All right, I got that first cut in there. Wanted to show you that real quick, but that's what our inside looks like. Does that not look just fantastic? So now I'll go ahead and get it sliced up. Like I said, you should get 8, 9, 10. It just depends on how big, how little you want your pieces. But I'm gonna go ahead and get this sliced up, and then we can try some. All right, got our plate. There we are. And looking good, right? Looking good. So Now, all we gotta do is give it a try. Now, I do have some marinara sauce right here. Use whatever sauce you like. There's all kinds to choose from, or you can just drizzle some olive oil on it, or you don't have to drizzle anything on it. You can just call it a day, and you can eat this with your hands. You can eat this with a fork. Completely up to you. I'm probably gonna make a mess, but that's all right. So we'll go ahead and give it a try. Perfect. That is great. It tastes like, you know, pizza, hands down. Now, I'm here to tell you what, that's good. But there is about 1 million different variations that you could do to this. Like any Stromboli or any bread. Back when we were making Strombolis pretty regularly, the difference being, like I said, you kind of fold it over once, tuck it all in. I used to bake mine with the crease side up in the beginning and then flip it over halfway through baking. That way you less chance of leaking, and then with this you just roll it up tight. Yeah, if you look on this one here, see how you can see the bread all the way through it. You won't have that with the Stromboli, at least not the ones I make. But anyhow, you could do hamburger and hamburger toppings in that. You could do a Big Mac variant of that. You could do the chicken fajita, which is awesome, or a taco one, or the possibilities are truly endless on what you can put in these. Either way it goes, I mean, you're still just going to do 400 degrees for 35-40 minutes to get that crust baked. Because no matter what you do, you're going to have everything cooked. So, like in this case, the only thing we needed to do really was melt the cheese that was in it and cook the dough, or bake the dough. So, by default, everything else is done. But give this a try. If you've got something similar you do, whether it be a Stromboli or a calzone, or a garbage bread, right? I'd be curious to hear. So tomorrow for dessert, I got a couple different ideas I'm tossing with. I probably won't decide anything until morning, but I guarantee you it's going to be unhealthy all the same, but it's probably going to taste amazing. I don't know, because I've never made either of the ideas I have, but you'll have to tune in tomorrow to see. That being said, give this a try. Let me know if you do. Down in the comments below. We do have a new website out. Get a revamped website that is just phenomenal, and I got somebody that's taking care of it for me, so that way I know it'll always be updated. Check us out on Facebook, whether it be the group. I also have a business page. Now, with either of those pages, not only can you order something on the through Facebook or the website, as long as you're in Ohio at the moment. But ask a question. You have a question, you can reach me on any of those formats. The website is mrsmithskitchen.com. We're on, like I said, Facebook. We got the Facebook group, all that jazz down here below. Either way, comments always welcomed. So until tomorrow for dessert, I love you. I love you very much, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Tell somebody else you love them and you love them very much. They may need to hear it. It's gonna make them smile either way it goes, I guarantee it. They'll make you smile and feel good to tell them that. And if you make them some of this garbage bread, I guarantee they're gonna smile for ear to ear for days. And that's gonna lead to lots of conversation and a full belly. All right, so till tomorrow for dessert, I'll see you then, and I love you. Bye-bye.